Welcome to everyone joining us today for our final webinar in the series organized by the Higher School of Economics Graduate School of Business. We would like to thank all of you who have been with us all this time throughout our webinars, who joined us about 5 weeks ago for our first webinar and who is with us today. Those of you who sent in the questions, who participated in our answers, gave us your thoughts, feedback, shared your stories with us. We're very, very grateful to you. So today we sort of sum up our conversations. We discussed a lot of interesting topics that concern us the most during this very uncertain times and even turbulent sometimes, the times of pandemic and the VUCA world that we are living in now. Today, the topic of our conversation is well-being in times when everything goes not as it was planned. So I guess we're all more or less familiar with it, but how do we handle the times of uncertainty? How do we ride the waves of change? This is what we're going to talk about today. And the experts that will be discussing this conversation, this topic today are Anna Griznova, who is Deputy Dean of the Graduate School of Business, Maria Pavlovicheva, who is Head of Marketing and Communications at the Graduate School of Business. And
hello, everyone.
Yes, hello, Maria, to you. Hello, Anna. And Sanjar Hankel, who is the Master's Students in International Management Program. Some of you may already be familiar with Sanjar because he joined us a while ago for our first webinar, and he represented the views of the student community and gave us his thoughts on how the students of Graduate School of Business adjusting to all of these challenges and changes. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. As always, I would like to invite you to participate in our chat. Do let us know where you are joining us from. And of course, we'll be looking forward to some of your answers. So we have prepared some of the questions for you. So make sure to stand by and we will be going back to you for your answers. I would like to begin by saying that today, of course, we have to face a lot of challenges and adjust. Some of the new skills that we are developing as we go, such as flexibility, resilience, and what it takes actually to stay afloat today. Maria, I'd like to turn to you because you have some very, very, very latest figures and findings. And tell us what's happening in the world. What factors influence our well-being? What is it that affects us all on a daily basis today?
Yes, I will gladly do that, Marina. So yes, as Marina has already introduced me, my name is Maria Pavlovicheva and I'm Head of Marketing Communications at the Graduate School of Business at HEC University. You know, the school was just recently launched. We started in September, but in fact, you know, the history of business education at HEC runs a very, very long way. Just a few words, you know, about myself. I'm coming from business background. For many years, I worked in major advertising and creative agencies, you know, handling major international and local brands. So for me, you know, what is going on at the moment is interesting from the two sides. From the communication standpoint, and because I have a second degree, which is psychology, and I'm especially interested in stress management and you know, stress resistance. You know, I think today's conversation is going to be very interesting for all of us. So just for us to kick off this conversation, I would like to share with you, as Marina said, a few interesting slides. Let me just start a little presentation. Can everyone see the screen with the slide?
Yes, we can.
Absolutely, great. Thank you. So probably most of you know Ipsos, which is a major market research company. It's a world-known company, and every year they issue so-called global trends report. If you go to their website, you will be able to read it. It is quite interesting read. And you know, just wanted to share with you some interesting facts. Basically, you probably all know it, but just, you know, for us to, again, to have a basis for the discussion, We all know that more data has been generated in the last 2 years than in the whole of human history. I think this is incredible. This is so overwhelming. We're basically flooded with information. And 75% of people actually think that social media has too much power. And this is so true, because we are basically overwhelmed. So from the minute we wake up in the morning to the minute we go, to bed late at night. And some people actually say, and I was really surprised that it's a majority, are saying that 74% feel that global social media and technology companies need to be more closely regulated. Well, it's kind of questionable, but it actually indicates that people are really overwhelmed. And so much contradictory information at the moment. And having this COVID-19 pandemic in March is actually making it so much worse. We will probably discuss it, later in our webinar, but people basically don't know whom to trust. They want to dampen the noise because this is too much. And as Ipsos suggesting, 77% of us are saying that they want actually to switch off. They want to find more time to, retreat into themselves. They want to spend more time alone. They basically want to kind of go back to the roots. They want to go back to themselves. So basically, this is the let's say this is something, this is our habitat. This is something that we live in at the moment. I'll probably stop at this point because I think actually that's, a lot of evidence that the world is actually changing. It's not going to be the same.
Indeed, Maria, thanks very much for this information. And just as Maria said, this is the very latest findings that we have from Ipsos, yeah? So the research that has been done in 2020, basically, in the times of the pandemic, some analysis was done and some study was taken to gauge the emotional well-being, how people think about certain things. And of course, a lot of people are worried. They seem to be concerned looking at these figures, yeah? 74%, if I'm not mistaken, think that media should be regulated, that social media should also be, is an issue of concern for a lot of people and should also be regulated because we are bombarded with so much information from so many different directions. So what is right? What is wrong? What can we trust? What can we rely on? Yeah, and that, of course, affects our well-being and mental state. Anna, I'd like to turn to you now. What do you think about this? I mean, how concerned are you with all this flow of information? Or maybe you have some strategy or tools that help you to sort of filter all that's coming your way.
Well, it's a very good question. It's a very good question. Of course, I think that we as managers or as people experienced in working with people, we do have our strategies and our responses. Personally, my favorite strategy comes from this famous book written by an American admiral, Admiral McCraven, and the book is called Make Your Bed.
Mm-hmm.
So make your bed as a strategy, as a routine strategy that helps you to survive in the most unpredictable, most unstable conditions. And I've been talking about it to everybody since the beginning of pandemic. Of course, sometimes it's easier to say than to do it. And I've been teaching, one of the classes I'm teaching is the class on change management. And I've been teaching people to be flexible and responsive and adaptive, and to see changes not as a threat but as an opportunity. Well, right now when I'm in these shoes and changes are all around, it needs some practice. It really needs some practice. And also, Marina, I wanted to well, just talk a little bit about Russia, because, well, the global trends, they are sort of universal, and, well, human psychology is universal, and I think we all responded to pandemic and to COVID-19 in more or less similar way, but still there are some cultural differences. And I've been thinking, when I was thinking about this webinar, I've been thinking about Russia. We all know that Russia has got a very high PDI, power distance index. And that causes a very special, very specific dynamic at the level of the labor relations. As we all know, Marina is an expert in cross-cultural communications. Managers in high PDI countries are expected to be experts around everything and are expected to have answers ready and solutions ready for all possible situations. And right now, even we in Russia, and Russians, well, we've got this stamina, right? We are considered to be very resilient, very tough people, able to survive in whatever conditions. But today, even Russian managers, I think we all find ourselves in the situation when we don't know what will happen tomorrow and what will happen next week. Not to mention even midterm planning, like planning something for January is totally impossible right now. In Russia, as you know, Telegram, well, social media, I would say Telegram is very popular, and there are lots of channels and people will talk about it and discuss it. And maybe you've seen it that for the last 2 days, people in Russia, what they talk about whether ski resorts in Alps will open around New Year or not. So nobody knows, and it's a very stressful situation because we don't know if they will open or not. So,
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe for the first time actually in our lives, we don't know how to plan and what to do. There is so much unpredictability, which actually makes it, so difficult.
Absolutely. Well, the points that Anna just raised are very interesting to discuss and to elaborate on, because on the one hand, we have the situation, a cultural situation, with a high PDI, power distance index, which means that people are, I don't want to use the word afraid, but they are cautious about asking their bosses, asking their management for about a lot of things. And even if you're feeling, for example, not too happy about something, about certain issues, or you're concerned about the state of uncertainty, you choose not to talk about it. Yeah. So that's another interesting cultural phenomenon, if you will. Also, we all have to adjust to uncertainty. We don't know how to plan. The planning horizon has shortened a little bit. And there's so many things that make people worried at this point. And what to do, as Anna rightly put it, practice makes perfect. When you read about something in a book, that's one thing. When you teach your students how to act and adjust to different circumstances, that's something else. But when you actually are living through something, you don't know where you're going to end up, what's going to happen next. It's something else. It puts a lot of pressure on all of us here. I'd like to turn to Sanjar now, because he is the student. He is the one who is sort of on the receiving end of this change in many ways. And it's interesting to find out what the students are thinking about it. What, Sanjar, you personally think about the situation that we are dealing with now? How are you coping? What's your coping strategy?
Marina, and if I may, Sanjar is not a regular student. Sanjar is the leader of our MIA ambassadors group. So he technically represents the program to the outside world internationally, and he's also a student leader of his cohort. So he's got some authority.
Wow.
So it's got the position of power. Speaking of the power distance, you mentioned.
Still, I will try to reproduce the opinion of the majority. And I firmly believe that these times are not easy for any kind of students in the world. But at the same time, any challenge means that there is an opportunity to grow, to become stronger. And let me start my story saying that I have just graduated from my bachelor's degree program, which was economics, in fact. So, and previously I had many internships. So I was offered to work in several companies after my graduation. However, unexpectedly for everyone, these offers were partially declined. So now I think it's time to talk about unemployment rates that have significantly grown with the coming of crisis. So there are problems related with pandemic, and of course we are facing a new upcoming crisis, and it also influences students. So not only overall lockdown, but also economical aspects directly influences students. However, I think that as it was already mentioned here, the most important factor here is adaptiveness. So through the historical perspective, if we talk about evolution, adaptiveness was the most crucial criteria to succeed. And today that's not an exception. So I can definitely say that we have to adapt. So, and business has also adapted for this situation. And today many graduates, they can find employment opportunities through online platforms. But several months ago, it was a bit more difficult. So that's when it comes to unemployment. We have to talk that there was a small arising problem, and hopefully it would be resolved. Talking about our work-life balance or study and life balance, so I would say that it has substantially improved, because now we don't have this transactional costs. So to say, we don't have to write somewhere, we don't have to make some documentations in places in some separate places. So bureaucracy, transportation, all of these questions are not important today. And everything what you can do is to focus on your education and really enjoy it. So we love to study online. That's fantastic. As for me, I would say that the quality of education has also risen because now we can listen to a professor more attentively. Of course, we should mention that network part is not so developed and really lack of some social events. But that's a common situation for any representative here. And
Well,
the last
Sandra,
thing. And
yes,
the
yes,
last
go
thing
ahead.
to mention is that now, due to this pandemic, we have faced some issues, but at the same time, the world has become flat. In other words, opportunities are more equalized today than it was yesterday. So students from Harvard University can listen to lectures of HSU University professors, and we also can listen to Harvard students' lectures. So opportunities are equalized to some extent.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for this. As Anya mentioned earlier, you are a special student. You're not a regular student. So yes, for you, you know how to take advantage out of the situation and make lemonade out of the lemons that has been thrown our way. Certainly, but it requires a certain amount of self-discipline to maintain the high level of education. But yes, as you rightly put it, there's so many ways, there are so many things that are open to you now, and it's important to see these opportunities and not to miss them and focus on your studies. So many things that you don't have to do anymore. You don't have to physically travel to different campuses, lectures, etc., etc. So that's certainly a big plus. Before we continue our conversation, I'd like to put a question to the audience. The first question that I would like to ask our viewers and listeners, wherever they are joining us from, is this: do you feel overwhelmed with the volume of information you have to deal with on a daily basis? That is our question number one. We can put it on the screen there for the viewers. And we have 3 choices of answers for you there. The first one is, yes, I find it quite stressful. Second, no, it doesn't affect me at all. And third, I've learned to filter the information and only take what's important. Okay, so we'll give you some time, a couple of minutes to answer that. Then we will look at the answers, collect them, and talk about them further. So I've, having listened, having heard all of you, Maria, Anya, and Sanjar, it's interesting how we all seem to be affected by what's going on, but at the same time, we try to stay afloat, we try to adjust. And the key words here is adaptability and flexibility, and of course, somehow, trying to stay positive about the situation. Maria, while we are collecting our answers, I know that you have the information, the slides on sort of a broader picture, the global context. What are the leaders doing in other countries? In fact, what sort of leadership models are saying to us? Let's take a look at that and see what's happening elsewhere, not just in Russia, because we have discussed what's taking place in Russia at the moment, the cultural factor, but let's take a sort of broader look and see what's happening elsewhere.
Can you hear me? I think I have a problem with the internet. Okay. Yes.
And we hear you loud and clear. All good.
Oh, excellent. Maybe it's on my side. So yes, basically, people are trying to adjust. It doesn't matter who they are. Either they are top managers, middle managers, entrepreneurs, self-employed, students, all of us are trying, just to do something and to get on with our lives, to plan our future, to plan our careers. And the research I'm going to show at the moment, Marina, you tell me where to show the slides while we're waiting for the for the results.
Sure.
So basically, yeah, so the research also proves us that, people are taking actions. They're changing their lives, and probably, it's not going to go back to the way it used to be. And I think probably now it's a good time to start to pay more attention to your psychological health, to your well-being, to, spending more time with your loved ones. And I know I had this conversation, like both in the office and with my friends and with my colleagues, that the good thing about pandemic is that people are actually getting close to each other. They are spending, more time, although most of our day is spent in Zoom, but, we are having kind of more quality time communicating. So I think that is a good thing. But the fact that global leaders from around the globe, global leaders are, paying more attention to the well-being. I think this is something great, and this is the takeout we all can, learn from this pandemic. So yeah,
let's take a look at the slides. Let's take a look. If you can share some of what you have, it would be great if we could see. Yes, very good point there, that we are getting closer to each other in many ways, if not geographically, then just, in Zoom and virtual reality, we can connect to so many people. Absolutely. From, different parts of the world, our friends in different parts of the world, even in Russia, in different cities. So true, we communicate more often, we value communication. So let's see, Maria, tell us a bit more about this slide. Some very interesting findings there too.
Yeah, that's true. So there is another major company, but the one that I'm going to share the facts from at the moment is actually a global health insurance company. It's called Bupa. So it's very well known around the world, and it actually provides health insurance to kind of premium health insurance. And it is kind of quite big company. So this year, again, they issued report, which is called Global Wellbeing Index. And what they did, they actually asked around 2,000 entrepreneurs and corporate leaders from around the globe. UK, USA, France, Emirates, Egypt, China, Hong Kong. And and the results were pretty amazing. So out of 10 leaders actually said that their psychological health worsened during the pandemic. And I think that this is something interesting and something, I would say, brave to admit that psychological health worsened. They're saying, like all of them are saying that work-life balance is becoming more and more important. We actually heard this story many times. I think this conversation has been going on for many years already. But I think at this particular moment in time, it's becoming, even more evident that this is something actually to care about in your life, to have this balance. And another, big figure is that 9 out of 10 businessmen and business leaders said that they're going to pay more attention to their health, their fitness routines. They're going to spend more time with friends and family. And to me, it actually proves that at the time of uncertainty, people are actually turning back to themselves. They're turning back to the roots. They're turning back to, I would say, basics, and they're actually starting to realize what their life, consists of. I think it's pretty amazing research.
Yeah, absolutely. It's eye-opening in many ways, and makes us think about lots of things here, the essential, the most important things. But the question is, I mean, I'm always the one who is, well, not being skeptical, but I'm just trying to analyze things, and I wonder, is what we are going through now stay with us? Like, for example, the change of habits, attitudes, being close to each other, putting soft skills to the forefront. Will that stay, or will that go as soon as we return to normality? Because right now, so many issues are on the surface, because people are stressed, people are worried about their future, so many things to consider there. But once the situation stabilizes more or less, do we go back to our old habits and old ways and throw empathy and soft skills out the window? Or do we actually learn something from this crisis? So let's return to this question after we have looked at the answers. I'm sure we may already have some of the answers from the audience. Let's see how we are doing there. Sanjar, can you tell us if there's anything there? Can you see the answers? Let's see if we can ask our.
Yes, I'm trying to, but hopefully that informational department will help us with that.
Yes, we do have the answers. They are there on the screen. I can see them. Can you? Okay, so let me just read out what I've got. Very, very interesting. Remember, the question was, do you feel overwhelmed with the volume of information you have to deal with on a daily basis? So 54% of our respondents chose answer C, the last one. I've learned to filter the information, only take what's important, which is a good sign, isn't it? Now, 27% find it quite stressful. That's the first answer. And the middle answer, no, it doesn't affect me at all, goes to 18% of our viewers. So very interesting spread of answers there. But the majority of those who are with us right now are doing good. They've chosen the last answer. They've learned to filter the information, which is the healthy way, of course. So this is it. We have other questions for the audience. They will come a bit later in the program. But now let's talk about soft skills and the importance of soft skills. I know, Anna, we've discussed this earlier, and you said that they are very, very, very important. But what is actually being done in graduate schools? How are business programs reviewed now? Is this component now taking sort of the center stage? Because a lot of business schools before the pandemic focused on the hard skills of their students, strategy, management, communications, of course, but soft skills were sort of taken for granted, something that was good to have, but, maybe not the most important thing. How about now? What's going to change in terms of the curriculum, in terms of the subjects that are going to be offered to the students? Are soft skills taking an important place?
Marina, before I jump to this subject, like soft skills, communication skills, and what we do in business school about it, can I say a few words about the results of the voting that you just announced?
Of course, yes, yes.
It's just amazing. First of all, personally, I'm very happy that more than half of the people said that, well, they somehow adopted and found a way to live in this challenging situation. Well, it's almost 9 months already, right? We're living through it, so it's about time to learn. And getting back to whether we will ever go back to the normal as we knew it till 2020, I think, well, that says that, well, there's no way to this old normal that we had before. And in business school here, on our educational programs, we have advisory boards. And advisory boards are the institutions that help us to manage to govern the program, and they're usually composed from faculty members and from representatives of our corporate partners. And since September, we were having lots of discussions with them about, well, this new situation and like how we have to adjust our programs to make sure that we prepare graduates for a career in a new world, in a changing world. And all our corporate partners say that, well, there is no way back, and that the corporate life and corporate world will be changed forever. Another sign, well, I'm not sure how to qualify it. Is it a good sign or a bad sign? But I see on Facebook in one of the groups, there are lots of discussions about corporations hiring psychologists. So no more coaches. No more like HRBPs that were the most popular positions usually, but psychologists, trained psychologists to work for corporations and to help people to overcome critical situations in the life. My other concern with the results of our voting is that, well, there were still some people in B section. People who say that they are not affected at all and that they're doing well. I think, well, for me, it's a clear sign that these people are in denial. Because, well, whether admitted or not, and as Maria said, it really requires a certain courage to admit that you're under stress and that, well, you're experiencing something new that, well, you never had before in your life. And now, making the bridge to your question about our programs and curriculum and soft skills, I think we're all in the same boat. And I think that it's very important that we, faculty, management, administrators, but also students, begin talking openly about these issues. Well, it requires some maturity. It requires some independence of the mindset, but we have to begin talking about it. And I'm very happy that, well, we're having this situation here at HEC University. HEC University, I think, was maybe the only one, well, I don't know the data, maybe many universities are doing it, but since the beginning of pandemic and when we all shifted to remote education in March of this year, HEC University started providing the services of qualified professional psychologists to faculty members and to the students. So you only had to, well, to call and to talk and to raise these issues, but the assistance was there.
Was available. Well, Anna, that's certainly great that you had this option there, and obviously the management of the school took into account a lot of issues there, and in fact took the psychological health of employees seriously. But speaking of business programs. Do you think the managers, business people, the future leaders of the business world should be equipped with all these, the soft skills package, so to speak? Because as you rightly put it, I think it's also a very interesting thing there. A lot of people are in denial of psychological problems. They dismiss them. They like to take control of their lives, and they say, no, I'm in control, I'm fine. But nonetheless, maybe they do experience problems which they don't want to talk about, because for a lot of people, and maybe Maria can add something to that, because she has a background in clinical psychology. She studied to be a clinical psychologist. Maybe a lot of people are just not, are hesitant. They are afraid of talking to a psychologist, to a coach, to somebody who can help them, because it was not something that was seen as a positive thing to do in the Soviet Union, for example. And maybe that's why when we bring up the word psychology, psychologist, psychiatrist, coach, they're still kind of like, well, not maybe foreign concepts altogether, but nonetheless, people are very cautious about admitting that they resort to the help of these specialists. Marie, what do you think?
They do not necessarily fit into our cultural environment in Russia. That's true. Well, Maria might have another opinion, but I think that people are not really ready to work with psychologists, are not easily ready.
Well, actually, I don't have data in hand to prove it. Not how we now kind of manage the business. We need to prove everything by data. But what I just want, to add to what has already been said. First of all, COVID-19, I think it's a major distress for everyone. So I think when a person is saying that he is not affected by it or he is not overwhelmed, I think it's a denial. And we all know that denial is a form of psychological defense. So when you deny something, you are kind of, guarding yourself from what is going on around. So my guess would be that most of us are affected. But what is the most important? And Sanjar has already elaborated on this, and Anna has already elaborated on this, and Marina has already said a lot about it. It is adaptability. And this week we had a number of new academic councils for our bachelor programs and master's programs. Anna has already mentioned it. And it was pretty amazing, because at these councils we have, corporate leaders from the different business fields. And when we discussed what is important for the future graduate, what are the skills that we can actually put on the table and adapt our graduates with, most of the business leaders said that, guys, you need to be adaptable, you need to be curious, you need to know how to learn. But this adaptability, this agility, there is another term, agility, so agility is something most important. So if you are able to adapt to the situation, if you first of all are able to admit that you're under stress, then you are kind of reflect on what is going on, and then you think, what should I do with it? So I think this is something that was mentioned in the first part of the presentation. People are now kind of thinking that going back to themselves, taking a bit of reflection is something that actually can work for all of us.
Yeah, indeed. Well, while we are processing what you just said, because there were a lot of amazing and great things to think about, a lot of food for thought. Let me put the second question to our audience. Question number 2: what will help people to stay afloat during and after the pandemic? So we want to know your thoughts on this, and we have 2 options, 2 answer choices here. A, soft skills and new ways of communication are very important in any circumstances. And B, it's not the soft skills, it's the hard skills that always help in the crisis. So let's see how our audience answers that one. And then we will, of course, process this, collect the answers, and analyze this. Sanjar, let's turn to you now, because we want to know how the student community is doing. what about soft skills? So as a future manager, you're studying international management, you're going to be one of the business leaders, probably heading the company, maybe corporation. What do you think about soft skills? How important are they? And most importantly, the role of the management, because when somebody leaves the company, leaders, they have to think about all of the employees who work for the company. You as a future manager, what importance would you attach to the soft skills in the company?
Yeah, it's a well-known fact that sometimes soft skills are even more important than hard skills, and it's very necessary to be able to communicate with people in order to build strong team and in order to build strong organizational structure of a company. So it's highly important to pay attention on the development of soft skills. And as it was mentioned today, actually, Graduate School of Business is doing well in terms of preparing all the platforms so that students could communicate. To bring an example, on the upcoming week, we are going to work with such companies as KPMG, Ernst & Young, and L'Oreal right here in Teams on online platform. So nothing was declined, and we're still going to study just in online, let's say, online way. And when it comes to soft skills in general, I think that the best way to improve it is just to have some negotiations, to have some events as well, which is also important. And I would say that once in a week, we meet with all of the students in teams and negotiating there over some projects which we're doing together. And sometimes we even play board games, which are also available online today. So I think that today the role of soft skills as important as it was always. So it's very necessary to be able to communicate with people. And the only problem is that we're restricted in communications. So we just have to find all the ways and all the opportunities to communicate as much as it's possible.
Okay, thank you for this. Let's see if we have collected any answers so far. Let's see what our audiences, our members of the audience chose. The question was, what will help people to stay afloat during and after the pandemic? And there are two answer choices. Soft skills and new ways of communication are very important in any circumstances. And it's not the soft skills, it's the hard skills that help us to stay afloat. Let's see.
Yes, let's see. I've been warned by our IT support that the results are coming like with few seconds delay, but they're
okay. Coming. The results are coming, yes. So we should be able to see them on our screens very, very shortly, in just a few seconds. Yes. There they are. Okay. Yeah. Just look at that. 90% chose the first answer. Soft skills and new ways of communication are very important in any circumstances, and only 10% of people say that it's not the soft skills, it's the hard skills that always help in the crisis. So Anna, can you comment? Can you interpret the results this time?
I'm very happy with these results. I'm a very strong believer in soft skills. I think developing soft skills and providing ways and instruments and platforms to develop soft skills, that's what differentiates business schools actually from other universities and from other institutions specializing in like hardcore science like physics, mathematics, biology, whatever. Well, soft skills, that's our future, that's for sure. It's still very challenging for us, Marina, because the question is, how can we develop soft skills if we are all apart and if we cannot communicate directly and we cannot meet over a cup of coffee, over usual like ways, rituals that we grew up with. Sanjar was giving us some examples that students are not students like go ahead and find their own ways to socialize and to communicate beyond the educational process. That's great. Our objective right now is to think how we can incorporate it, embed it into the educational process. Of course, technology helps. Technology enables lots of things. And I'm very happy that despite everything, we were able to bring into our classroom here in Moscow, well, virtual Moscow, faculty from abroad, from different countries. We have people teaching in the business school this semester when everybody stays at home, self-isolated or just isolated by the government. It depends on where you are. We had people from United States. We had people from France. We had people from Austria, from Germany, from Canada. It's just to give you another example, the illustration of Sanjar's statement that the world is becoming flat indeed, and technology helps. I can't think of any other situation when our students would have been so much exposed to this international experience and to communicating with professors from abroad. I know that a lot depends on how ready you are to work with technology. And well, we're all different, right? There are some early adopters and late adopters. I think in this area at that time, I belong rather to early adopters because I absolutely love teaching using MS Teams and Zoom. Well, first of all, I cut on transaction costs, as Sanjar called them, being an economist. So it saves me, some time that I can spend on some sport, gymnastics, meditation, painting, whatever I want to do. But also I find that these formats, they provide an opportunity for much more interaction between professors and students. At least I don't remember when I had so much interaction in my offline classes.
Indeed, yes. A lot of people are saying that. Yeah. Sorry for butting in. Yes, a lot of people are saying that the interaction that we now have with people from so many parts of the world is amazing. So on the one hand, we're limited. We do not have any physical opportunity to chat, to have a cup of coffee, as you mentioned, and exchange the energies, as they say. But nonetheless, there's so many opportunities there, and sky's the limit there, because we can talk to people from Australia, from New Zealand, from the United States, from South America. It's just amazing. And you mentioned just a wide range of countries where your professors come from. And also, as Sanjar mentioned earlier, and Maria as well, that raises the quality of the education, because so many things become available and accessible to your students, which is absolutely fantastic. It's amazing. Before we continue to talk about the pluses of the not so easy time, as we call it, I want to put the final question to the audience. In fact, it's the possibility to form a word cloud. How would you describe your new normal? Let us know. You will have a chance, maybe 2 or 3 answer choices there. So tell us what you think about the situation. Is it positive? Is it concerning? Is it something that presents new opportunities to you? You've already have that on your screen popped up. Let us know. There's only one answer choice. Let me put it right here. I'm going to answer, and those of you who can do that, please do so. I will actually say to you the answer that I put. I think it's transformational. This is how I answered. A lot of things that happen to us at this point are transformational in many ways. And Anna, you've just beautifully explained that to us, in giving us your personal examples and what the school is doing. Sanjar, what about you? How would you describe your new normal? And basically, just summing up what you said earlier, I mean, I know that you sort of feel positive, but just to finalize what you said earlier.
Yeah, So we should mention that in order to stay rational, we have to say that this is not easy time at all. Yeah. So meanwhile we're trying to stay positive, at the same time we fully realize that this situation is not ordinary, and hopefully it's not going to become a new norm. And we have heard many positive news on vaccination in the upcoming months. So hopefully soon that will end up. But continuing the point, that I totally agree that this is transformation, and I would only mention that this is maybe digital transformation, because everything starting from the business and social, everything moves towards digitalization. And here it's important to mention, like it was mentioned by us already, that one of the most important hard skills is to be able to use technologies, because not all people from all over the world are able to do that. And that refers to hard skills that we have to develop, because maybe youngsters are very good in technologies, but are those people who are doing unqualified job or less qualified job, are they able to use these technologies in order to become a normal part of society? And I think that that is a thing what we have to pay attention on, and hopefully government is going to realize projects in the frames of digitalization and giving skills of users, or basically personal computer user skills are highly important today. And
Good
I think
point.
that,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
Good point there. And speaking of soft skills, that we need to take into account the people who do not have access the way we do, and what to do about that, if we can do something about this. Absolutely. Maria, what about you? How would you describe your new normal? What's in it for you, and what's your personal story?
Well, first of all, I think that I would agree with you guys. I think that new normal is already here, and probably the world will not go back to to the world that we used to know before. But it's also interesting to know how CEOs of major companies are actually dealing with this. There is this messenger or project management company use Slack, called Slack, which is used by lots of web developers and IT developers worldwide. So their CEO is actually saying that if the company is not going to offer remote work in the future, it will be actually losing in the battle for the talents. So for the people who are going to enter the job market in 2-3 years, having an opportunity to work from home or having flexible hours will be a new norm. And I think for us, the new norm is something I would say pretty stressful. Because first of all, as Anna said, we're so used to going, out, having a cup of coffee, having a conversation, even having a business meeting somewhere out, and having a business conference, and all these things that actually formed our reality beforehand are so missed at the moment. But I think we should be optimistic. And of course, these parts of the former world will come back to us in the nearest future. But having an opportunity to work partially remotely, to be more, online, to be more technological, these are the takeouts we should all kind of explore and take with us from this pandemic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So fingers crossed that we return to the old normal, but
fingers crossed.
We also have some great lessons to learn from this new normal that we are in.
Great to take from
we
it.
have discussed so much today, so much food for thought there. Let's see the answers. Let's see the beautiful word cloud that our viewers gave us.
Marina, you didn't ask
transformation.
my answer.
Yes, so the answer will, oh my God, look at that. Look at this word cloud that we have. So there's hectic, transformational, exciting, isolation, challenging, perspective, technological breakthrough, luck. That's a very good word there, and a very good combination of answers. What do you think? Anna, you are our interpreter of answers today.
Well, my answer was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my mood. Well, I'm a fighter, so I see lots of opportunities and lots of changes in this situation. And to follow up on what Maria was saying, well, we all know that stress is the only way to change and to develop. Without stress, we would have been dead long time ago. So I think that the stress, that's exactly what we need right now. Just
the right level, the right level of it. stress and not distress, because distress is bad.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit of it, yeah?
Just
so
a little bit of healthy stress
will be fine. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And well, you know, Marina, I just realized today in an earlier conversation with the colleagues from abroad that, well, you know that we've got 6 basic emotions, right? Only 6. We've got the 7th one from this year on. And this emotion is called zooming.
Okay.
Because when you ask people like, guys, how you are doing, the people would respond to you with, well, we're zooming.
We're zooming.
So, yeah, it's a new emotion.
Yes, we have some new vocabulary. There's definitely some new words that we learned and that have entered our daily life now. That is absolutely true. Well, so much to think about and so little time. We have very, very, very little time left. And in the minutes remaining, I would like to thank our audience for being part of our webinars, part of our discussions. Thank you, the experts and professors of the Graduate School of Business, for sharing their thoughts on such a wide variety of subjects here. And those of you who missed our webinars can go to our website, go to the YouTube channel, visit the YouTube channel of the Higher School of Economics, Graduate School of Business, take a look at the videos that are posted there for you. Look at some of the webinars, leave your comments in the comment sections. Let us know what you think on the issues that we have covered and discussed here. It's been a pleasure. It's been a wonderful ride all these few weeks that we talked about sustainability, artificial intelligence, digital economy, and of course, well-being. I hope that we gave you some advice here, some recommendations on how to stay healthy. And if there's a little bit of stress in your life, just a little bit, that's not a bad sign. It's actually a good thing. And all of us have to think a lot, reflect on what we went through and what we're still going through. So I'd like to thank all of you, Maria, Anna, Sanjar, for this very interesting and insightful conversation, for giving each of us a lot of food for thought. I have definitely learned something today, something that I'm going to take away from this discussion. And I would like to wish you all the best, and our viewers who have been with us today, who gave us their answers on to our questions. And let's hope for the best, that the new year 2021 will bring us new opportunities and new hopes.
Absolutely. And Marina, well, we designed these webinars as the way to open up a little bit Russia as the country and our business school to people from abroad, maybe to people who has never been to Russia before. International travel is very much limited right now, and Russia remains unfortunately closed for foreign visitors for the moment being. And I hope that these webinars were a useful way to get a glimpse of what's happening in Russia and how we feel about what's going on around the world. And Marina, on behalf of all of us, I would like to thank you personally for moderating these webinars, because without you, it wouldn't be the same. And also I would like to thank all our MIM students who also took part in these webinars, contributing, asking questions, sharing the experience. I think it's very important. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this project was absolutely amazing, and you know, opened up a little bit GSB to the world. For us as a new project, it's kind of very important. And thank you guys for inviting. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Sanjar, Marina, for bringing this wonderful energy. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, everyone. Best of luck. and best of 2021 that we'll be seeing in a couple of months.
Be safe, do yoga. Bye-bye.
And come to
Bye-bye,
Russia.
guys.
Explore GSB.
Bye. Thank you.